too many that were willing to go as the Tennessee Titans. So when we talk about this one, I mean, we even heard from Kyle Shanahan saying yesterday, quote, "It would have been a hell of a deal to get Julio in San Francisco." I agree, and I'll explain in a bit. But for all those teams who didn't land the two-time All-Pro wide receiver, which team may regret not making an aggressive move? And we'll start with our most aggressive member of the broadcast this morning in terms of energy, Kyle Brandt.
And I am in an aggressive mood as well, Jane. You were right the first time. I've had a lot of time to sit here with my thoughts in this room. The other day I was thinking about something. Follow this. One time we did Whiteboard Wednesday, and the question, guys, was something to the effect of like, when your spouse is mad at you, what do you do to get out of the doghouse? And I remember, Peter, your answer was, I just start cleaning. I just clean everything. I'm cleaning. I totally get it because I do that. And I also, I buy things for the house. Like, oh, honey, I was just buying some sconces and some drapes. Just no big deal. That's how I get out. So it made me think of the Green Bay Packers because they're in the doghouse. Yeah. Their wife, their husband, whatever you want to call it, doesn't want to speak to them, doesn't want to be in the same room as them, doesn't even want to hear anything about them. Can you imagine a greater sorry I messed up gift than, hi, Aaron, we just signed Julio Jones. He's on the team now. Will you come back and can we end all this crap and go win a Super Bowl? Can we do that? Because if the Packers are guilty of anything over the last couple of years, it is not going all in, to use the phrase Peter used earlier in the show. They did not go all in with their Jordan Love draft pick. The Bucs did last year. The Titans are this year. I think the Green Bay Packers, think of last year. If that team last year had Julio Jones on it, I think they beat the Bucs in the title game. They probably beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. What if they brought in Julio and were like, sorry, we slipped up. We're human. Will you please come back, Aaron? Here is the 6'5", 230-pound player from Cybertron as our apology to you. We'll put heated floors in the bathroom. We'll get you to have a weekend with your girlfriends, whatever you do, but it starts with Julio. I think they could have done it. That ship has sailed, my friends.
And it's just lots of cleaning. It's look, there are no more piles in the corner of the room. The pantries are organized. My laundry is done. Can we please be friends again, Aaron? I've been there, Kyle. I know how it works. I look at the Chargers, and the Chargers, their payroll, I looked at it, and it's like Bosa's number one, and then two wide receivers. Keenan Allen makes crazy money, and so does Mike Williams, who's only got 1 year left. And Mike Williams is going to make like $15 million this year. So it doesn't make a lot of sense fiscally. But gosh, what if the Chargers added Julio Jones? Think about what we'd be talking about in the AFC right now. We'd be waking up talking about the Chargers, which we don't do. They've got Herbert, obviously, and he's got that cannon arm. Do you feel like Keenan Allen has 4 years left where he's going to be one of the top 5 wide receivers in this league? Do you feel like Keenan Allen could use another guy like Julio Jones on the other side? There's also this battle for LA thing going on. Like the Rams went out and they got Matt Stafford. The Rams have the Malibu Beach House. The Rams are what feels like hosting the Super Bowl. You know, the LA Chargers play in that stadium too. And, you know, they didn't get a Sunday night game to open it. No, that would be the Rams against the Bears because, well, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth should be calling Matt Stafford against one of America's greatest teams in the Bears. The Chargers, I don't know. Are the Chargers good? Sure. Do they have an offensive line that was rebuilt? Yes. Can you sell tickets around Corey Linsley and Brian Bulaga? I don't know. Like, Julio Jones would have been a splash. And I know you don't win Super Bowls with a splash, but I certainly think if you have Julio, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Justin Herbert throwing them the rock, I'm a lot more interested in the Chargers than I would have been 3 days ago.
No doubt about it. I love the word aggressive. I like that we started with Kyle. Of course, 6 weeks alone in a hotel. Of course he's aggressive, man. Kyle, I'll just say, pace yourself, man, because you can go blind, all right? If you show up with Steve Wonder glasses on in a month, if you show up with the Steve Wonder glasses on, then I know what you've been doing. But listen,
20 years ago,
speaking of blind, the Atlanta Falcons, were they blind not to see what could have been if they would have kept Julio Jones? Yeah, I'm saying Atlanta. Now, I get it. It seemed like this was already a done deal. And we know that Julio Jones was on skipping Shannon, and he was on the speakerphone, and he said he's out of there. And we all assumed that he was going to get traded. But there's certain teams that just say, no, we are not trading you. Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, even though they traded J.J. Watt, still, there are teams out there that say, no, we want you to stay right here. And I know this is a very unique offseason, though, because we did see J.J. Watt, we did see Matt Stafford, and now we see Julio Jones. I mean, absolute superstars, franchise players, pillars of not only the team, but their communities being traded because the player wanted out. I understand it's a new wave, it's a new era. It's a new generation of players that can make their own call and get traded. But with that said, the Atlanta Falcons could have just sat back for a second and said, if we could just make him happy, convince him to stay just one more season, we could have Julio, Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, and then a quarterback that knows Julio more than anybody in the NFL, Matt Ryan. So I just feel like that the Atlanta Falcons, they should have done everything that they could. And I know everybody in Atlanta is probably saying, Nate, we did. We absolutely did. It was over. I get it. I just didn't want it to be over this soon.
Mm-hmm. I love that you guys are talking relationship advice, specifically, Kyle. The more that he says, I'm sorry, the less the woman loves them. I just want to give you guys some advice here. It's true. Although women do love acts of service. If you're making the bed and you're organizing, that works for all women. All right.
Marie Kondo.
Yeah. I loved that segment that Rhett Lewis did with his wife with Marie Kondo, like that. I got excited about that. I do Marie Kondo my drawers. It's on my to-do list next week. I'm just looking at the 49ers. Yeah. I mean, Kyle Shanahan basically admitted it'd be a hell of a deal if they were able to get him in the division, because we were just talking about it earlier as we were talking about the Cardinals. Every single one of these teams in the West is a playoff caliber team. And who knows Julio better than a guy like Kyle Shanahan, who had him in 2015 and 2016. Oh, and by the way, Julio Jones led the league in receiving yards per game both of those years. So I can't really quite figure out why they didn't go all in on him. I mean, they went out and they got them Jimmy Garoppolo. They seem poised to make a move. They just haven't been able to put the points up on the board. I mean, just look at the Super Bowl a couple years back. So I don't know. I feel like they're going to be the ones that's gonna regret not having him here. I mean, when I look at Tennessee, I didn't necessarily think that they needed Julio. I still think they need to bolster the defense. I already liked what they had on offense with, of course, they lost Johnny Smith, but they had A.J. Brown. They've got Derrick Henry. I think that's going to make them more dangerous. I think we talked about earlier, you're going to have to pick your poison, but I think the 49ers could have really used a guy like Julio Jones on the roster.